Well, it's, you know, it's interesting. You know, we have a number of, you know, so we have 27 national parks. Not all staff, not all going to have a least staff. Some are really so big that we'll never have coverage. So we, as far as, you know, we have a park that's, you know, 1.5 million acres in size, and it's just, there's no way to do the staff. I don't know how to answer this.
But most of your staff are not so much tourism oriented.
The rangers, yeah.
Rangers
So
are
what,
more enforcement or-
Yes, and they are enforcement, and then they look at tourism second. So you're right. So we would pick people based on most of the skills we would be looking for would be, you know, someone who knows how to protect the resource, someone who loves the resource. Because we're only now thinking about creating opportunities for generating income. You know, we've had basic park collection fees, so the individuals in those parks would be expected to be pleasant enough to a visitor, but not necessarily. You know, a lot of these tours were self-guided, or they went across the mangrove and we had signage, and they went to the beach. So I guess thinking ahead, what we would want, like really look at some of the things that you were talking about there. Maybe as I think about making more of these parks more financially sustainable, either in and of themselves or through partnership with the local community, then I have to think more about the staffing and what qualities they come with, what skills they come with, or what skills they have to instill in them. So instead of being more, I mean, still a lot of resource protection, but they got to really think about the economic aspects of sustaining the resource, not only the environmental. So.
I have a question. Are you allowed to raise funds independently, or do you have to go through some kind of protocol with the government to do that?
No, just, we allow any restrictions. We can implement park fees immediately, raise the fees. You know, we're looking at any number of things over the next year in one of our national parks. So we have these mega yachts that come in that they're too big for our moorings. You know, we charge smaller yachties, you know, up to 100 feet, you know, long. We have moorings that can hold their boats, but you got the mega yachts coming in at 200 foot. They're too big to be safe on our moorings, and so they don't pay anything. They just go and anchor, so they cause some damage to the seabed. You know, so we're about to come up with a system where they will have to pay for us to pay enough for us to actually install the type of moorings that can hold their big boats, or we're going to run them out of the park. And that's controversial because they're going to run to Ministry of Tourism saying, hey, you know, we're bringing in visitors to the country, and the National Trust is being unfriendly in their practices. So, sorry, that's a long story.
Yeah, that sounds like a difficult challenge.
It's not a familiar challenge, though.
Yeah.
What we call choque de competencias, you know, like one ministry against another ministry.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you have cases where we would try to implement fines and fine visitors on board their vessels because we suspected they were fishing in the park. And we take them down to the police station, and then we get a call. Not we, but the police would get a call to release them because maybe the tourist made a mistake. So.
Yeah.
So your staff has to be aware of not only the laws of the country, but also how to deal with people in a way that doesn't infuriate them and cause alienation.
I think one of the things we're also looking at now is also the staff have to be very much aware that the benefits you must find ways to involve the local communities. So it's not a skill as much as creating an awareness. I mean, I try and hire people from a particular island where the park is located. That's not always possible. And in that case, there's more of an education that has to take place. But even for the local people, even some of my local guides have had to tell them, hey, you know, this is just a cousin of us, you know. Yeah, you don't allow them to break the rules, I understand that, so you want to look sterile and professional, but you still want to be friendly, and you still want to find ways to involve them in making money out of the park. So getting them to realize that it's been we've had a few cases where, you know, somebody, the guy gets hired, and he's a park warden, and he's suddenly above everybody in the community, he can keep people out, and he can stand, I mean, you know, that's not what you want.
Same thing in Costa Rica.
You're not an FA now, you know.
Yeah.
You're still from the community, you know. And people end up hating them from the start, talking bad about them, and I would fly into one of the islands, and they're like, you know, Gary, I don't know where you hired this, so you know, he doesn't remember where you came from, blah, 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 etc. So, retaining those sensibilities. So what I was actually being, you know, I was having the opposite effect of what I wanted by hiring local people. They were actually distancing themselves from their communities.
So that staffing becomes really important in terms of training and educating them, not only in the laws and the ways to manage visitors, but also in how to politically behave themselves. You know.
And sometimes there's just people's personalities. Some
Yes,
people
I agree.
That we have found because the rangers in the Mountains National Park are they were primarily enforcement, but there was a big focus from the start of the park, and we had that was in 1993. We still have a couple of rangers from the 95. And the focus on this interpretive enforcement. And we really try to call on, particularly because we're an NGO and we don't have the same powers that Eric's organization has, we tend to try to call on forestry department or the environmental agency to do any major enforcement.
Yes.
That we do the investigation and try to ensure a good relationship with community members so that they can tell us and then we pass it on to the government agencies for some of the enforcement. But just sometimes you just have a ranger who's just really good with people.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have groups that we call them and they say, well, we want so and so to walk because our rangers also do trail, guided tours. Some of them have special bird skills, they do bird tours because they also do bird monitoring. And but sometimes it's not just on their knowledge. They're just good with people and good sharing and interpreting, and people will ask for them by name.
And you have the other type who are very good at what they do, very good at monitoring,
But don't put them in.
but don't put them with
Yeah, they're not giving. Well, this is true of any business
Yeah.
anywhere. But as I mentioned before the lunch break, it's very important that you do this kind of screening because sometimes you're going to lose a person because you don't have a place to put them because they're really great. I have a guy at my hotel who is like gotta be one of the world's coffee experts, and he is the most charismatic. You know, people come back from our tours and they're just like, oh my God, Leo is just, he's just, you want to take him home with you. And he knows everything about everything. He'll talk with chemists about L-dopamine in the brain, and he'll talk with people about agriculture and how to farm. But if we ask him to help us put together a booklet on how to, work with this and what the terminology is and to write it up, he'll go, oh, okay, and then, 2 weeks later, did you start? No, it just won't get it done. And then we have people like the opposite.
Maybe
So,
you just need a writer.
well, he does.
Yeah.
So my is this. You need to funnel, to channel those people into their right spot. But for the area of people, managing, training, you need the charismatic person who's going to create that bridge between the ideal and the practical.
I think what you put on the thing of training is actually really good. I mean, I have some other people that work for us that came in with a lot of skills in a certain area and we put into a certain area, but we forgot to retrain them and build skills in certain areas, and then they start to fall down. And you got to fire sometimes a wonderful person, and when I sit down and look at how did this happen? I realized that their manager didn't train them, didn't address those deficiencies that I knew 4 years ago, 3 years ago, a person had, and no one really addressed them. And they get fired for stuff that could have been really addressed by training, stuff that was training is actually.
And ongoing. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes in Fiji we say, oh, it's Groundhog Day, because you think you've trained someone in a year later, or 6 months later, or 3 months later, on certain things, they have to be reminded over time. So I think consistent.
In the CST, the Certification for Sustainable Tourism in Costa Rica, one of the norms is that you have to have, it's evidence-driven, so you have to prove it with photos and everything else. You have to have regular training sessions where you remind them about what sustainability is. And of course, if you're doing that, you might as well start talking about, like, what, we had some complaints about this and this. You guys have to really think more about explaining that this faucet works this way. Or, it helps you start training on other ways. But I'm going to make a point here, and I think that there's a real big difference between being the boss and being a leader. And being a leader, I think, means choosing people not necessarily on their skills, but on their potential. And then you can see after a while, we found in our experiences that we like to hire people on personality. When we interview them, if they're outgoing, they're smiling, and usually, not always, but usually you could, again, you say, you have computer skills, and that. And the second one is interns are just incredible. Often they turn out that they go off to finish their master's or they do something else. But we have such a great record of having interns who then all of a sudden show up one day and say, such and such asked me to do, he's on vacation, asked me to do a report on the maintenance. And you go, okay, and so can I send it to you? Yeah. They've been working for 6 months. And you get this chart, and you go, dude, nobody at this hotel does anything even close to this. And so you go, listen, we have a job for and you find these people. That's the way to think about it. It's like, give people a chance.
I get so busy, I don't know what's happening. My details and all the department.
Would you like to join
And I
us?
sort them around.
You want to come up here?
Yeah.
Come join the conversation. We're small and
And I sort them around the whole summer, and then I had to sign a form for him to go to his university.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many hours? But now his manager, he worked in the education department. He's finishing university in December, and she is holding off a hire. She has to hire someone now. She's going to wait until December. She's already given a job offer. So you're right, the internships are great ways to find tested, steer them, and that's where you find the potential.
Yeah. Or sometimes they come back after many years. And they've done something else and they don't like it, and there they are. So I think those are staffing issues that are really, I would say in terms of staffing, that you have to think of it as a kind of like building a house. You really have to put the right construction in there, and you have to plan ahead. Okay, if you start now with staffing on a level that allows you to find people that you can build. This is also true if you end up going somewhere else, moving on to another job. You have loyal people who you've trained and who work with you, and you can later recruit them again. So it's all part of a strong foundation that you build, and it starts giving results after a while.
And what we found is these little conservation camps we do with kids set the stage for them when and these are local community kids that may, and sure enough, some of those little kids 15 years ago that were running around are now 18, 20 years old, and they love it, and they couldn't wait to have the chance to be a guide. So, and they learn, and they follow, and they mimic, and they do all that all through their lives. So you can develop little stewards at an early age, and I highly suggest once a year, whatever, work with the school systems, have them help organize it, and do it.
Well, there's another side to that also. And I'll tell you what happened in Costa Rica, which is really great. When we first started with sustainable tourism in the early 90s, late 80s, level, La Rios, which is one of the most famous eco lodges in the world, and I mentioned her earlier, Karen Lewis, she trained a young man named Gustavo Segura, who was just out of college, and to run her hotel for her. And she worked with him every day for many months, and then slowly but surely let him run the hotel. She had to be there to supervise eventually. So he worked as the general manager of the hotel under her supervision for about 3 years. And then he left. He wanted to go back to San Jose. He'd been in the jungle for 3 years. And he went back and he did some more seminars and worked some more and started getting involved with a little bit of consulting with eco lodges because he had 3 years of really strong experience. And he was an ambitious guy. And about 5 years after he left, one of the biggest hotels in Costa Rica, the Ramada Herradura, it's called, was looking for a general manager, and they hired him. And the first thing he did when he got in there after he settled down was to tell them, and part of his contractual agreement with them was, I want to participate in CST with this hotel, and I want to get 5 levels, which is the highest you can do, and I want to invest in it because it will have added value for us and because it's good business. And that was the first big hotel in the country to get 5 green levels. So we saw the first generation young man, second generation business activist, and now he's running the whole Punta Islita, which is a series of very high-end hotels. And he called me up the other day and said, we're buying coffee. I produce coffee also. We're buying coffee from this big conglomerate, and I think it's better to support them small and medium. So maybe we could buy some coffee for you for our hotel. He's like, and this on every level is starting to penetrate, and this comes from the staffing and training, and eventually you build an army of advocates.
Well, and you start to change the culture in the communities.
Yeah. So, anything else?
Anything else on staffing that you can think of that might be, or any challenges here that you've just said, we're just not ready to crack this particular issue? Yeah.
It's not sharing ways that things that not in our NGO, but from the service providers like restaurants, hotels, small cottages. They hire their employees which are below 18 and start at training because they only give minimum wage for salary. Because those who were trained were, of course, aiming for higher salary. Business owners wanted to pay their employees lower. But as of now, the tourism office, the local tourism office, also working with our organization to put the requirement in their having the purchase that they should hire those who were trained and also in the legal age.
Yeah. And that's what sometimes guidelines, or if you look at the GSCC guidelines, those address address those issues. So sometimes having that framework that you can say, okay, we're going to adopt these guidelines and address these issues because we're adopting the GSTC principles. That gives you a backbone to say why you're doing it. And we've identified, some of those issues with fair wages and, not hiring kids for goodness sake and making sure that those, because in some countries there's laws for those, but not all. So, yeah, I think that's a really good.
Your invoice, your presentation will help us show that in our place, they were not only given the law.
GSTC guidelines, this thing, do you have any, is this the only one we have?